The United States can borrow however much money it wants and to pay for whatever it wants, whatever Congress decides.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. This week, ABC's Whoopi Goldberg used The View to push a pretty wild conspiracy theory about Ron DeSantis.
Do I have the courage? Is it worth the sacrifice? America has been worth it every single time.
That could have been anybody.
Right.
Anybody.
Very
that could have been me in a Ron DeSantis wig.
No, really, it couldn't have been. I don't think they had a wide-angle lens on the camera. You know, they'd have to pull out. Let's just say there's different body types involved here. Before her segment was over, though, Whoopi had to continue to flout her ignorance once again.
They pay the same taxes I pay. They want the same things that we're entitled to as taxpayers. You can't pick and choose, and you're not asking your constituents, you're telling them what you're doing. And that is not the American way.
Perhaps she was still in the cafeteria getting another dessert when they talked about representative government. DeSantis did just win re-election by over 20 points, so maybe the people elected him to do these things?
And that is not the American way.
Anyway, that's not the way Whoopi likes it. That's un-American.
I don't want to dislike you. I can't help it.
The leftist media just can't help it. We all know they hate Trump, and now there are more GOP presidential candidates jumping in the ring, so bring on more hate.
You have seen Governor DeSantis really as governor and now as emerging and as of tonight official presidential candidate is really the face of the erosion of those freedoms.
DeSantis, the face of the erosion of freedoms. Now, what freedoms would MSNBC be talking about here?
Whether we're talking about voting rights, critical race theory, the book bans, LGBTQ plus rights.
So what MSNBC meant by freedoms was just a grab bag of lefty social priorities and fake news. That's just about as over the top as the NAACP's ridiculous and false travel advisory for Black Americans.
The NAACP has issued a travel advisory for Florida. It says the state is, quote, openly hostile toward African Americans. Well, I keep thinking about the black people that live there. I actually have two sisters that live in Florida. What this means for people who live there or people of color who are planning to go to Florida, I don't know. It's very unsettling to me.
It's so unsettling when a state legislature passes laws and a governor signs them, especially ones that end programs like teaching Black Lives Matter propaganda in a high school AP course.
He's blocked public high schools from offering an African American Studies AP course, barred all grades from teaching about gender identity and critical race theory, and signed a ban on abortion after 6 weeks.
Clearly, you wouldn't want to travel to a state where babies are allowed to live. And to think, Gayle King's sisters are there.
I actually have two sisters that live in Florida. What this means for people who live there.
Means their babies might live and the children that live won't be force-fed critical race theory when they get to school? I mean, it's hard to imagine GOP presidential candidates like Senator Tim Scott wanting to teach kids about how to be successful and not about the victimhood that's so essential to CRT.
And he's one of these guys who, you know, he's like Clarence Thomas, Black Republican who believes in pulling yourself by your bootstraps, rather than, to me, understanding the systemic racism that African Americans face in this country and other minorities. He doesn't get it, neither does Clarence.
Right.
And that's why they're Republicans.
It's interesting that leftists are so sure that minorities can't be successful. I mean, that sounds a little racist, doesn't it?
I don't know who his message is supposed to resonate with. Actually, he's talking about victimhood and personal responsibility as if people aren't taking responsibility for their own actions.
Instead, for me, he came out and did that dog whistle. Victimhood. As soon as you say that, you know what he's talking about. I didn't like that.
One of the issues that Tim Scott has is that he seems to think because I made it, everyone can make it.
Whoopi hosting two Black multimillionaires that are irritated that Scott's message was that other Black Americans could be as successful as they are.
He seems to think because I made it, everyone can make it.
Could be worse, though. MSNBC's Joy Reid is irritated this week that men wearing dresses are not allowed to go into women's bathrooms.
Republicans are obsessively enacting anti-trans legislation nationwide, and when they do it, they almost exclusively frame it as a women's rights issue. Bathroom bills are touted as protecting women's privacy and ensuring women are safe.
Wow, that's just horrible, huh?
Banning drag shows is about protecting decency and decorum, especially when children are around. The bills banning trans youth from playing sports are sold under the guise of saving women's athletics from unfair physical competition. It's about fairness, they say.
Yeah?
Let's unpack this rhetoric for a bit, shall we? The Republicans who push anti-trans legislation love to pretend women's rights are a priority for them. They're not. They're simply dressing up transphobia as feminism. If women's privacy, safety, and dignity were a priority for Republicans, why are these same Republicans in these same states obstructing life-saving abortion care?
Life-saving, because abortion ends with the death of a human. And every state with abortion limits has exceptions for the life of the mother. So this is MSNBC. You can't expect facts. I mean, that would be like CNN acknowledging that it's a rational position to want to limit spending and slow down America's ever-increasing debt as part of the debt ceiling negotiations.
It's an irrational fight to have. I mean, America's borrowing power is her superpower. The rest of the world would kill to be able to have the position we are in. The United States can borrow however much money it wants and to pay for whatever it wants, whatever Congress decides. And that is a sign of strength.
That leftist logic. Neglect the repercussions that unchecked spending could cause. Increasing interest rates alone might evoke some hesitation, maybe.
The U.S. is in this very prime spot as the lender to the borrower to the rest of the world. You know, it is a really interesting position we're in, and this is tainting that.
Why would you want to taint your position as the biggest borrower in the world? I mean, what could possibly go wrong with that? When the leftist media isn't ignoring the important facts, it's busy just outright lying. Once again, it's Joy Reid discussing the debt ceiling.
So now we are here again, because one party has once again decided to take us here on purpose. And if you don't want to believe me, here's the evidence.
This is a president that is failing the American people. So I think that bodes very well for the Republican field.
That is Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel.
That was Ronna McDaniel, but she wasn't really speaking about the debt ceiling debates. As you can see in just a moment, she was really discussing the presidential race and the many, many failures of Joe Biden.
And this is an MIA president when it comes to problems that the American people are facing, whether it's energy independence, whether it's fentanyl, whether it's a broken border, whether it's crime surging in our streets. This is a president that is failing the American people. So I think that bodes very well for the Republican field.
There's no need for context in the sound bites that MSNBC uses for its propaganda and lies. I'm Eric Shiner for MRC-TV, hoping you have a great Memorial Day weekend. Please head over to the MRC homepage, click on the donation button to support videos like this one. Visit MRCTV.org for the latest in videos, entertainment, and information. And please like, share, and subscribe to these videos on the platforms that let you see us. We're always available on Rumble. And we'll be back next week with another look at leftist media madness.